Welcome to the Leadership Spark podcast, where we equip you to be the great leader your people deserve. This is Corey, and we're continuing a conversation about how you prepare to be the great leader that you want to be. How do you prepare to be the great leader that your people deserve for you to be in the next year? And so yesterday we talked about the need to answer the B question. Who do I want to be in the next year? And write down your B words and think about your identity. And then we can work down from there. And so today I want to talk about the skills audit. An audit that you can do to identify skills that you need to develop. Maybe there's a gap today that exists that will allow you to be the great leader that your people deserve and the leader that you want to be. And so this will be us talking a little bit about what do we need to learn from right now, from this current year, that will allow us to lead well in the next year. And this is really about skills, because great leaders don't wait to see what skills they need. They prepare now. And so you don't have to wait until January to start to think about the skills that you need. Great leaders don't wait down the road to think about the skills they need. They're preparing now to build the skills, to develop the skills that will make them successful in the future. Because the reality is that skills that I neglect now, skills that you neglect building now, will become a bottleneck later. And you want to get in front of that as much as possible. And when I think about the next year, I think about leadership skills that are going to become more important because of just the context that we're leading in and all the complexity that we lead in, regardless of what function or what industry you're in. We have some common challenges when it comes to leadership, and skills like being stronger at decision making, or growing in our emotional intelligence, or becoming tech fluency with all of the advancements around AI. Like, how do we deal with all of this? And so we should be thinking about, how do we prepare now through skill development to be ready whenever we have to need those skills to be able to either make decisions, grow in emotional intelligence, or become more fluent in tech. And so what I want to suggest that you do as an action is that you do a skills gap audit. And so the skills gap audit is really made up of 4 buckets. So think about this framework in 4 buckets. What strengths do you need? What are solid, what are weak, and what are critical gaps? And so when you think about skills, what skills are your strengths? What skills would you say, these are solid skills, but I have a chance to elevate those? What skills would you say, these are weak skills that I need to develop because maybe I haven't spent as much time on those, or maybe those aren't in the natural flow of what I do in my job, but what are the weak skills? And then where are the critical gaps? And you use that you take your skills that you need or that you think you need, and you put them in one of those 4 quadrants. And you start to think about, okay, what are my gaps? That's going to help you prioritize the skills that you will focus on, even right now, before you even get into the next year. And so after you have laid out your skills into the quadrants of what's strong, what's solid, what's weak, and what is a critical gap that I need to think about closing, then you need to pick one skill. Focus on one skill to start off with in the next year. And you could say, hey, I'm going to focus on one skill per quarter, and I'm going to go ahead and map out what those skills are that I want to develop. And then I'm going to build a plan for learning around that. WildSpark exists to be able to help leaders do exactly what I'm talking about with our product. And so use WildSpark if you're a WildSpark customer, or come use WildSpark if you want to develop in this way. But this will allow you to drive focus. It will allow you to drive intentionality around skill development. And so I want to encourage you to be thinking about what skills not only do you need today to be successful, but what skills do you need in 6 months or 12 months based on where you see your job going and what your team needs from you as the leader, and start developing those now, and use something like a skills audit to be able to identify gaps and give you focus and intentionality when it comes to developing your skills. And I think if you do that, you can have a plan in place to be able to elevate the skills that you already have and close the critical gaps that you may have as a leader.